Welcome to Rap in Order, the interrogation of a hip-hop album, where we take some of the culture's most beloved hip-hop albums, put them on the stand, see if they stood the test of time. Now let's see who we got on the stand today. Welcome to another episode. Oh, I thought you were about to say something. All right.
I'm excited.
From the top. Welcome to another episode of Rap in Order. I'm First Class Regg.
And I'm Taurian B.
Today we're joined by our very good friend LaShawn.
How you doing, guys?
AKA First Class C.
First Class C.
Joining us once again. And today we're getting into French Montana's debut album, Excuse My French. Excuse My French came out in 2013 under Coke Boy Records, Bad Boy Records, and Maybach Music Group. Of course, under the umbrella of Interscope. Featured guest appearances from Diddy, Machine Gun Kelly, Raekwon, Ace Hood, Wayne, Birdman, The Weeknd. Like, this thing had everybody. When this came out, around this time frame, French had a really big buzz. You know, he had some really great relationships that he still has to this day. And around this time, this was like the culmination of that, right? You had big singles on this. You had Pop That. You had Ain't Worry About Nothing. You had the big single with The Weeknd that he had, the single that he had with Nicki. And this kind of just was his big arrival. He already had his buzz going on, you know, from the Coke Boys, his time with Max B. What did you guys think of this project back then? I'll start with LaShawn.
Great project. Awesome project. High trajectory. It was supposed to... Well, I thought French was going to be the biggest shit in New York in a very long time after this project. So I enjoyed a boatload of the records here. It was very well produced. Mm-hmm. It carried a lot of momentum. We're about to get into it.
Okay. What about you?
I was in the club when this album dropped, and let me tell you, French Montana was at Greenhouse with, what was it called? Fucking Butterfly, One Oak. Mm-hmm. It was called Up and Down. No, it was called the Derby. Then it was called changed to Up and Down. Like all these like spots he was hitting in New York City, and it was just like it felt like it was like an eruption because like his buildup was so long because he started out with the DVDs. Mm-hmm. I was living in Atlanta and I kept hearing like, okay, Smack DVDs. That's, you know what I'm saying. But then you're hearing about Cocaine City, so automatically at that time, all my friends was like passing around Cocaine Cowboy bootleg. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was like that, like, oh, like this is like shots of some hood shit. Then I watched it. And I'm like, oh, shit, this is like dudes from the Bronx. And, oh, shit, I know some of these niggas. Yeah. And, like, you know what I'm saying? From, like, seeing them. And, like, they would just get interviews with everybody. And the first Cocaine City mixtape that I saw was with Pee Wee Kirkland. And that was, like, fascinating because, like, if you know anything about, like, New York City basketball, like, playground basketball, Pee Wee Kirkland is, like, a legend. Mm-hmm. Like, the clips talked about him. Like, you know, he was a legend in both leagues. And the fact that, like, they actually got into an interview, like, blew our minds because we was just like, Pee Wee Kirkland is, like, talking about, like, what he did and, like, why he didn't go to the NBA and everything like that. Like, it was just, like, a big deal because, like, a lot of Smack DVDs was just, like, with rappers. Mm. But he was getting interviews with other people. So he went from that to battle rapping, right? And then he was doing it with Fight Club. And, like, I remember, like, when I watched Fight Club, it was all about Serious Jones. But, like, French Montana was on there, and pretty much, like, he said to himself, anytime he was about to lose, like, you know what I'm saying, like, they would start a fight or something would, like, happen or whatever like that. But, like, just, like, seeing, like, his build-up, like, going, like, from, like, step by step, like, going, like, being affiliated with, like, Gucci Mane and, like, Miss Deb, like, going, and then going from that to partnering up with Max B and them making them, you know, the mac and cheese mixtape, shit like that. Like, it was just, like, he was doing so much, like, this might be a hot take, but he's like the fucking, like, a modern day, like, Forrest Gump. Like, what the fuck hasn't he done? Like, he's from Africa, like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, his thing, like, escaped or some shit like that to move to the United States. He's from the Bronx. He got shot in the head, almost died. Mm-hmm. like came up, like had all these beefs, like experienced all these things, and was a part of all these iconic moments. And then to get his debut album, and everybody thinking that, like, all right, what really, like, what is he gonna do or whatever like that? Because there were so many people who were introduced to him in so many different lights. People didn't know how to take him seriously because they thought like he was like a caricature in the way he talks. So to wrap it up, when I got to this album, I was very excited to hear it because he didn't really drop any like duds. So like that's what I was excited about. I was very
Duds you talking about duds leading up to the album that he didn't drop?
Yeah, he didn't drop no duds. Like leading up to this album, like he didn't put out whack music. Like it wasn't like he put out whack mixtape songs. I'm pretty sure some people could nitpick, but like it wasn't anything where I was like, I don't know if this dude's gonna be all right. So like that's why like I was very much like ready for this project.
Okay. Well, for me, it was a little different because I think this project was before this project. I saw his buzz. His buzz was crazy because you know I was on World Star Hip Hop a lot, so they would, and rest in peace to Q, founder of it. But they would cover Coke Boys a lot. But like in this time frame, when I got to New York, I saw French Montana like getting bigger and bigger as an artist, but I just didn't really check in. But then I knew the album was coming out. So I was like, all right, well, let me see what the album is about. So like I was able to tap into the album. And then I know people that really fuck with his shit and know the whole story of the wave and everything, right? With Max B too. So from this album, I got like some, even when you recommended it, like I got some really big songs on this project. I remember actually I reviewed it back in the day on Tumblr, when I just had a Tumblr page, and I was like, yo, this shit is dope. Let me just review it. It's when Ace Hood had his run. I was excited for Ace Hood. It was some big songs on here, but like, it just didn't stick to me because I didn't follow French from the beginning like most people did. Yeah. So like, I mean, it was interesting to dig into, but what do you think are there some songs on here that you still go back to?
Gifted.
Okay.
That's The Weeknd.
The Weeknd.
Yeah.
I go back to Gifted a lot because like I always felt that I understand Once in a While was a good opening because like Max B
Once in a While was big.
Should have been the first,
verse you heard
when you turned it on. But Gifted would have been a dope intro for the album.
I also love how loyal he's been to Max B, and like he hasn't let his fans forget about Max B. Max B has been a part of everything that he's been doing.
Right. I think it's interesting because I think that him dealing with Max B taught him a lot about the industry. And it's funny to say that because obviously like Max signed a horrible deal with Jim Jones, but I also think, just to veer off, that like Jim gave like Max like a lot of opportunity. I just think that because Max didn't have like a lot of his stuff right, because Max wrote for a lot of people. He wrote Last Night for Diddy. So like knowing that like Max just didn't have his shit in order, and I think that like fell into like the loyalty thing where like Max was like, yo, this is happening to me, this is happening to me, and I think that French had a lot of connections that people weren't privy to that he had because people thought, he's just this dumb dude from the Bronx. Yeah. But I think that he had like a lot of people that like were able, like putting him in position to like know what to ask for in his contracts, and that's why like you never hear no crazy shit. Like he's one of the few people to like get out of the clutches of Diddy. Yeah,
his ear for music is really slept on actually. Like when you listen to his production, the songs that he chooses, there's a consistency even with what he dropped today with this too. You can tell it's the same ear but just like fine tuned. Like he picks really really dope beats, his collabs and the relationships that he builds on, and from what you said with Diddy, it's crazy. Like I've never seen a rarity like this. Like he had like a Bad Boy, what was it?
Maybach Music.
Bad Boy, Maybach Music deal, Interscope. Like all at the same time, and they all show him love. Like I feel like anytime he's about to drop, Diddy is always the first one that like literally makes a video like, yo, French Montana's dropping something, y'all need to go get that. Yeah. And Rick Ross, like all across the board, he gets mad love. And then not to mention, anytime Drake want to pop some shit, he finds Max B. I mean, not Max B, French Montana. Yeah. So it's just like
that's French's messy side. Like he's like, you want to get messy, nigga? I got a record for you.
Yeah, he has embedded relationships that aren't going anywhere. Nobody really beefs with him like that. I think the only beef he really had was like 50 at one point. And even that is like,
Jim
that
Jones.
wasn't even that serious.
Him and Jim Jones. No, they had on-site beef. They literally tried to kill each other all the time. French Montana had an interview where he said that one time he got hit in the head with a bottle, and he said that like it was annoying because like they would see each other. And he said that anytime some shit popped off, he didn't even have to ask, like, all right, who did that bullshit? Like, he knew. He was like, this nigga Jim. like, that's crazy to have beef with a nigga like that. And you just like, yo, like, I know, like, my team is thorough, your team is thorough. We know some shit gonna pop off. Like, yo, I'm getting money tonight, nigga. Like, another time.
Like, Jim is here.
So besides his caliber as, like, this hip-hop, like a hip-hop socialite is what they look at him as, what do you think he contributes to the music? Because you have big guests on here, right? We named The Weeknd, we named Drake, Ross, Wayne, Nicki, all these big artists, and they all fuck with French. But what do you think he brings? What do you think, LaShawn?
Songmaking.
Okay.
The songmaking ability is probably what stood out. Half these records that he end up having is like, damn, I know they wish they would have kept that for them. I mean, it's not on this record, but obviously probably the most undeniable one is Unforgettable. I know Sway Lee probably was like, damn, that should have been my record. But French has a lot of records where it's like, it's French featuring whoever, but whoever is always the standout.
Yeah.
But French gets to capitalize off of that because that's his record.
That's his name.
So somehow, whatever way he finesses that and keeps that to himself is borderline genius.
It's a relationship
right?
thing.
Or Ross's?
That was his. Yeah. But it was on
the
Rich Forever.
Yeah.
It was on Rich Forever.
Yo. All right, let me ask you this, Reg. Do you think it's his African heritage? Because like Africans got a lot of rhythm, bro.
Do you think French got rhythm?
I'm not talking about like all right. I don't know if the man can dance.
Okay, I see
what I'm
what
just
you mean.
saying is
like
just that like
ear for music and
like he has a different kind of air, right?
Yeah.
Like it's funny to me because like he made Unforgettable, and I'm just shocked that like, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody can correct me. Does he have like any music with what's the guy's name? DeVito.
I could check.
DeVito.
Now.
That's a good.
Like I'm just curious. Like has he like tapped into? I'm pretty sure he has songs, but like it haven't been like released. Because like another thing is like French is kind of like a studio rap.
They've been on a record together.
Yeah,
it's called Blessings.
Blessings. It's just interesting to me because it's like I look at French Montana like the James Harden of rap.
Is that because of the Trina?
Nah, we actually got to get into that because French Montana's roster,
I was gonna
pretty fucking bananas.
It's kind of crazy. He had Khloe Kardashian at City Island.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
According to like our friend of the show, Felix, like he forever championed the fact that French Montana had a Kardashian at City Island.
At City Island. That was crazy.
Yeah, man. Like
he had her wearing Timbs. Like, it was a weird time for her.
Yo, bro. Like you got to think like that. Like outside of him, like he was her only non-NBA player.
Yeah.
French ruined that friendship.
French had a roster, man. French was with Sanaa at one point too.
Yo, bro, like French Montana, like
that's
the legend
different.
of French Montana is different, bro. Like he was around. He's dated some of the most gorgeous women you could ever think of, and he is the most. He's there's a term in New York called dirty Bronx nigga, and he is like the face of it. That they're not actually dirty. What I'm just saying is that they're from the Bronx, and like they have like grimy tendencies. But like when I tell you he's the most well polished man, he even got his stomach done. He got a fucking 6-pack. Like,
did he get his stomach done for real?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah, you think so? That
makes sense. That makes sense. See that, and then that extends the relationship,
that's
right?
Crazy.
That's
hate. I ain't gonna lie, bro. If I
hate.
get money and I don't feel like going to the gym, I get my stomach done too. Fuck that.
That's crazy.
6-pack me.
Niggas getting their stomach done as well.
Hey, man.
Hey, but they gotta tell the girls about the belly button thing. You know how the girls
you can always tell
stretch
with them.
it. You know?
You sick, nigga.
They gotta pass the keys.
It looks burnt. Yeah.
But anyway, so speaking of Drake, right? How many people you think he took shots at on Popped Out? I know there's a Pusha T diss on there.
There's always a Pusha T diss on there, right?
We don't dress alike, we don't rap alike. I shine different.
I rhyme different.
Yeah.
That was
you and your time difference. I think that was at Pusha. Because around that time, when did Exodus come out?
I think it was for Pusha.
2012.
I think it was Pusha, and I think it was for Kanye. I think he was dissing Kanye on Pop That as well.
I don't know. I don't know if Kanye was getting smoked yet.
Kanye been getting smoked. Now, why do you think Kanye always like they
If
had
Exodus
love-hate
was 2012, then this was definitely to Pusha because this was 2013.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But since we started off there, I want to ask you: when you think of the greatest rap tours, where do you rank Club Paradise?
You know what's funny? I don't even think about it.
That's sad.
I don't think about it.
Because you got to think of every hit that came out of that tour.
I should. Because you had Rocky, right? Is that Club Paradise?
Yeah, that's the first leg.
Yeah.
The first leg was Kendrick and Rocky.
Yeah.
And then the second leg is where it gets crazy.
Who was on the second leg?
J. Cole.
Okay. Yeah, because they had the
2 Chainz.
The freestyle. Jodeci freestyle.
Yeah. 2 Chainz. Meek. French. And I'm missing one more person. But you got No Lie out of that tour.
Yeah.
You got Pop That out of that tour.
Yeah. Okay.
The Jodeci freestyle came out of that tour. Meek, of course, is always gonna have a Drake record on. You know, you got Poetic Justice, and you get
Poetic Justice came. Okay.
And then you get the record that fucking problems. Yeah. So I think when people think of the greatest rap tours and the music that came out of the tours or whatever, I don't think Club Paradise gets enough credit.
You're right, because you're right, because like for me
and Waka.
Oh yeah,
Waka was on that tour, and then I think Drake get round of applause.
Yeah, he did.
So Drake's feature run on through the Club Paradise tour,
and from. If that's 2013, that's like Nothing Was the Same.
Migos didn't do.
No, that was another tour. They weren't on Club Paradise.
I know they did. Like they don't went to that tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I can't argue against.
You're right. That was a great, because my mind automatically went to like I Declare War and fucking and Rock the Mic and all of this shit from back then.
Yeah, I feel like Club Paradise.
Club Paradise is up there. Especially with those songs.
The Rough Riders, Cash Money tour, the Hard Knock Life tour. Let's see,
and then you see where all of their careers went after this tour.
I'll tell you a tour that's up there with that. The Chronic 2001 tour. That one is Dr. Dre, Up in Smoke. Yeah, so it's Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, Eminem. I said Snoop right.
Exhibit, I think.
Exhibit. Daz and Corrupt, like it was a West Coast tour, like all of those dudes were like that, and like the shit that came out afterwards, because like after that we got the Marshall Mathers LP, from the which Snoop Dogg album came out after that? Fuck. I'm sorry, I can't. Like Snoop has so many albums, but a Snoop album came out after that. Exhibit was like on the high, but
no pun intended.
yeah, no pun intended. But I'll give you that, LaShawn, because right now I can't think of it. I know that a lot of stuff from the Hard Knock Life tour came previously, but we did get Beanie Siegel's debut album after that. And all right, Club Paradise. Okay.
Yeah, Club Paradise.
You got that, boss.
Club Paradise birthed some careers, so that's big. I wish they, you know why though? Why it probably isn't thought about is because the tours that we know and we herald as like the best hip hop tours ever, they actually document and they put it out. So Club Paradise is kind of just a thing of legend.
We're going to get that later. I'm pretty sure Drake, I'm positive Drake has that in the top.
I think it's just a thing of legend and, if you know type thing.
Yeah.
But if it was to come out, it would kind of reignite that. Like if we get like that shit on Netflix, niggas would be like, oh my God, like what? You know?
Yeah.
Because we have Backstage, we had, but... Anyway, so Freaks, Nicki Minaj, Rico Love. Rico Love was big around this time.
Rico Love, man, that's the pen. He's a cheat code for a lot of people.
He is. He was. Yeah. I don't know if he's used the same way that he was
around this time. He's in more of an executive role now.
Yeah, because he's on this album a couple times. Even Lex Luger is on here. This was around his time frame.
Rico Love was basically. Like doing what Quentin Miller did for Drake, and Quentin Miller continued to do it, but Quentin Miller kept talking about it. And I think Quentin Miller was a lot cheaper. I think the reason why Quentin Miller even happened was because like Drake was like, yo, I can find songwriters that like have great shit and like nobody knows. Like I think Rico Love, the price just went up on him because he was like penning so many. Like, yeah, I think people like Rico Love, Sean Garrett, Dream, they were becoming mainstream. They becoming solo artists in their own right, and they had that publishing right. So then, you know, you get somebody like Quentin Miller, like who's an upstart, that has some good shit.
But I was thinking about this the other day actually because Quentin Miller has an interview with Vlad now, and he was talking about how he was slighted by Big Sean.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah, but like, I think he's so frustrated because he really wanted his fair shot at being an actual artist.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be a secret in a sense. He didn't want to he wanted to just contribute, and he didn't know the ways of the game of like being quote unquote ghostwriter. But then I think he started learning, and he was like, all right, well, if I'm a ghostwriter, pay me money up front, and I don't need the credit. But like, I think signals just got crossed and communication wasn't there, but he just got dealt a bad hand, and it's all Meek's fault, man.
It's not all
or
Meek.
a bad
No.
leg.
Wow.
You got a bad leg to stand on.
Oh my
Damn.
God. I think with that, the problem is they don't know what song is going to be the song. So they're like, how can I pay you? And like, we in here, we just working.
Mm-hmm.
And
But that's what he should get paid for, though.
Yeah.
Right, for the work. But he didn't have the clout to demand that. And I think that...
Or he shouldn't just go in there.
Yeah,
period.
He shouldn't.
Yeah.
I think that he was so excited, like, oh man, me and Big Sean are friends. But I think with Sean, like, I think the reason why Sean like stopped fucking with, because Sean was like, yo, like, I don't handle this shit. Call the label, nigga. I think that's what the problem was. But it was just that, like,
did he say what record he wrote?
He didn't say. He said he worked on the project with Hit Boy and Big Sean.
It wasn't Blessings?
No, he said that they had a conversation about Blessings. And he was like, yo, man, I didn't even know you had a plaque for this. And Big Sean said something like, yeah, it changed my life, whatever.
I thought that was a song that they was talking about on Vlad.
Nah, he was talking about, he said when they would be chilling, they would talk, and then he said the record that he contributed to was it was a project with him and Hit, but I forget the name. That came out last year. But he said that they was talking about Blessings, and then they kind of spilled into having like an actual like friendship because they would like text back and forth, whatever. So I don't know. I think with ghostwriters, it's just a thing that we don't know publicly, and like you get people like Quentin Miller that pop up and tell you tidbits, and it confuses people even more because we don't know the whole story of none of this shit.
Yeah, I agree with you, Regg. I just think that I think Quentin Miller just needs to stop talking so much. Like even that situation with Nas that happened. I think Quentin Miller needs to stop talking if he still wants to make a living. I don't think that
that's true.
I think the point of being a ghostwriter is not being seen. You're not supposed to be like talked about, and maybe things can like come out later on. And I'll give you a prime example. Cameron is like a known ghostwriter for a lot of people. Lil C just had an interview, and he still wouldn't like tell people that Cameron wrote "Crush on You" for him. That tells you everything right there. Cameron don't. I'm pretty sure like people knowing like more of Cameron's like ghostwriter credits will like even like up his status, and he doesn't care to tell people like what he's doing. Like that's not like a thing of his. That's not something that like he tries to like do. None of that shit.
Yeah, I think. But even so, like, but that's where the signals get crossed because with ghostwriters, they don't get the credits, right? Yeah. It's not there because plays up to the name. But with him, he was like, I guess he thought it was a real contribution that he was making that would be used.
Yeah. Or it's not like R&B.
Yeah.
Where you get your writer's credit. Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, whatever like that. But back to French's album, like what like you were talking about Freaks, right, Regg?
Yeah.
So right now, at this time, Nicki Minaj is at like her like power, like the height of her powers. Do you think that Do you think that all the features that French had on this album was necessary to make this album what it was?
Yes.
Oh, for
I
sure.
think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think with a French album, I don't necessarily look at a French album like how I look at a Khaled album, because I still like I like French, but like but so many doses. I just like to see what he brings to these songs, and I can tell I've been listening to French long enough to know his ear for music and what he listens out for, kind of like, if that makes sense. So like, I think these people help tie in what he brought.
I wish that he incorporated the Coke Boys on the album more.
I think for his first official solo outing, absolutely. That would have made sense.
Like even if he just did one song with all of them.
Yeah.
Like just one. I'm not saying they needed to be on every track. I just think that like he did so much with them on mixtapes, and like Change Drugs is not on this album.
Mm-mm.
Like Max is on there talking at the beginning and everything like that. Like I'm pretty sure. I know that he had a Stack Bundles verse in the tuck. I know that he had a good Max B verse in the tuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just wish that like he could have just incorporated so like Stack's family could have got some bread off the album doing so what. Like I know like certain things like it's just politics and the way things go and sample.
But it's never came. I mean that would be a valid argument if a Stack verse from French ever came out. I don't think one.
Yeah, he hasn't. He hasn't. But I'm just saying. I know.
Maybe
I know that. But I'm just saying.
Clear.
I just wish he just did. I think it's probably out of respect and like it's probably like tied into like a bunch of other things. I'm just saying like all of these dudes like he was cool with all of these guys. So I just think why not?
Yeah,
that would have been dope. Yeah.
There's some big moments on here though. Like you wouldn't expect to hear Scarface on this song with French, and but it looks like such a Khaled song. You got Movado, Ace Hood, Snoop, and Scarface.
That was a tough record though.
It's a dope song.
That's
Fuck What Happens Tonight.
Yeah, that was
Remember
tough
how big
record.
Movado was, bro?
Yeah.
Tough
I think Movado can still like give us a couple.
Nah, bro. It was at one point like when you heard Gangsta, like the fucking room would erupt.
Yeah.
Like it was just different. And
I just don't think.
Khaled,
Yep. Well, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, put in the Khaled dungeon.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
everybody else.
They're gonna talk about that song. They're gonna talk about how pretty much like Khaled has like taken from so many people.
What are some? Yeah, they are, and I'm not afraid to talk about that. What are some low points on this album?
There was some certain records that was just it didn't hit or just felt like it was overkill. Yeah.
Solo record. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Unfortunately, let's see.
The Trap House record.
That's all I told him is one song that I skip every time when I listen to it. I want to talk about. LaShawn was telling me the story behind it. Worry about nothing. And I'm gonna let LaShawn tell the story. I'm not gonna take that from you. And tell the story.
I think he was catching heat because at that time I think he was beefing with 50, and 50 was French aligned himself with Ross, and at that time 50 and Ross was at their peak, and 50 went on to say that French can't make a good record by himself. At the time, all the records were feature records, so Ain't Worry About Nothing was basically his response to 50 that he can create a hit by himself. I don't think 50 was accurate because prior to that, the song is not on the album, but he did have a song called I think it's called Shot Caller or something.
Well, Shot Caller had what's my man damn, why? Man.
The original was just.
It was just him.
It was just French.
It wasn't the dude Charlie something on there. Damn, why I can't think of his name. Damn, I feel bad. I've been around this nigga before.
But yeah,
he was one of the Coke boys, but his name was Charlie something or whatever like that. But like
But the 50,
maybe that was the remix.
50 was trying to run with the narrative that French couldn't.
Charlie Rock,
there you go. Charlie Rock was featured on that song. I've been around him because like him and French fell out. But you got that. New York Minute was his shit too. And then Mason. Then remember that was the first time we heard Mason a long time on the remix for that shit. That was a big fucking deal.
So 50 was trying to run with the narrative that French can't make a record by himself. And I think Ain't Worry About Nothing was French's. All right, I heard what the monkey is saying, and then he put that out.
Bro, disrespect.
Yeah, those French's words.
That really gets under French's skin too, because I think even when he was coming out with Amnesia, remember when he was dropping Amnesia and he kept talking to everybody, and because there was like this thread around that time that this album was coming out, or that album was coming out, that people was just saying like, yo, name 5 French Montana songs by himself. Like, it was like this thing on Twitter.
Yeah. And he listed them.
And then he went on to like use that as promo for his new album. And his album, he called it Amnesia. So then he just was like, niggas must have amnesia. So he started like listing all these songs.
Yeah.
So it was interesting because, it is easy to say that, but you kind of do have to dig for his hits that he has by himself.
I mean, even then, you think about French's biggest records, they all got a feature on it.
And big names, not no regular names.
With that being said, right? Like, do you like when you? So we know that New York rap like has been down for a while. I know drill has risen up, but do you think that this was like one of the last like great New York records?
Which song?
Just
The album?
Yeah,
one of the last.
but it's not a New York sounding album though. So I know
it was big club records for New York City. It was the pinnacle, right?
Yeah,
and I think that I don't know. Like when I think back now, right? When I think of 2013 and I think of New York City, I think of this album out of New York, and I'm trying to think like what records came out of New York at this time.
Well, at this time, then that's, I guess, when you say at this time,
like
then,
at this time, like even though Meek Mill's from Philly, Meek Mill was the most New York sounding rapper from Philly.
But I don't think this was the last.
What came after this?
Before drill?
Oh yeah, because I was just gonna say
I'm saying like I know drill music, like drill op music came out, right? But before we got that, we didn't get drill op music until like 2017, right? Yeah. So like when the Hot Nigga drop?
Like 2017 maybe.
2017?
No, it had to be before that. Maybe 2015.
And French jumped on that remix too.
Hot Nigga had to be like 2015.
Yeah. Hot Nigga was 2014.
Okay. Hot Nigga was the next year? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I stand. Well, I mean, we didn't get an album from Bobby. But like Bobby had a single or whatever like that.
He dropped that, and then he had Bobby Bitch around that time. Yeah.
But I'll say, but I mean, and we got computers, right? So we got singles from Bobby, and we got a single from Rowdy. But like as far as like a full project, like as far as like being like, you know, carrying the flag, like I understand like there were other rappers that like came out, like Papoose probably dropped something. I'm positive of it.
Yeah.
But like I'm just saying, like when you think about it, like New York artists, like for a while they were like dead. Like they weren't making projects that might have been something that you carry, that you hold the flag on. So I don't know. I'm just saying, like,
okay. Yeah, I mean, that sounds accurate. I'm trying to think. Because, yeah, I mean, I'm glad we at least...
Yeah, because New York went on a run, though, where we had Song of the Summer for like 5 years straight. Because then Ooh came out. Designer came out.
These are singles.
Yeah, these are singles. So we were okay. But as far as album goes, maybe Excuse My French was the last... pinnacle big New York album. New York album,
yeah. Like, and I know some people might say it didn't sound like New York, but like if you were in clubs, like this is what the club sounded like, and French was cultivating that.
Yeah. He definitely curated the sound of. Yeah,
absolutely right. So I'm just, you know, that's just like where I'm taking it from on that standpoint.
French also doesn't get enough credit, maybe because he hasn't done this for like a New York artist. Per se, I think he's trying now, but he's introduced a lot of people. Like my first time hearing Nip was on a record with him and Wiz and Sean. Yeah.
Okay.
He was very early on Dirt. You know, he had Dirk signed the Coke Boy. I think he was signed. I don't want to.
Well, he was affiliated with Coke Boys, and then he got that situation. Dirk got the situation at Def Jam, which was terrible for Dirk.
Yeah. But French was very early on a lot of people.
A lot of people first heard Kodak because of French.
Yeah, Lockjaw, right? Which also makes the argument tough because it's like French gets these records that probably will go in his versus catalog, but they're all featured heavy.
Hey man, and it is what it is.
Like, Lockjaw is amazing.
Lockjaw is amazing.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at him, and I think French. I think if Chinks Drugs wouldn't have passed away, unfortunately, it hasn't time.
Yeah, Chinks would have ascended very early. Yeah,
like Chinks was his artist, right? And I just think that obviously Max B, like they have a whole. Did you see that? Like they have a whole podcast dedicated to Max B's trial.
Yeah,
talking about that, and which is pretty interesting to me, but like I just think that certain artists, but I unfortunately
what about
not to
Rocky.
ASAP Rocky in French.
When did Rocky drop?
Rocky dropped around the same time.
Oh well, I mean Rocky's project sounded like a Houston project.
Yeah, but Rocky is so
But
New York, though.
French didn't sound New York either.
Yeah,
It just felt
Rocky's so New York.
Miami-ish.
Rocky came out, his second album, Allah, came out in 2015. You know, he had some big New York moments on there.
Did he?
Yeah. What would you say?
I mean, the face of it is Yams.
True.
You know?
I don't know, bro. It's funny, like, you know, like, when I see Rocky, I don't think I just like because Rocky became like was always like worldly. Like he always came off like he was like, yo,
he was
I'm
bigger
in Paris,
than New York.
bigger than New York. Like he always presented himself as bigger, like global.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, when I think of him, I don't think of New York. When I see French Montana, I think New York, no matter what.
Now,
no matter
still?
Yes, still.
Oh no, I don't think that.
I don't think that.
Yeah,
either. I mean, I wouldn't argue with it.
I get Dubai from French.
Yeah, because I mean, but even the cover of this album, it's not New York essence. It's not, you know.
Yeah. Well, the cover is meant to like be like a metaphor for being a illegal alien.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the metaphor. For
he
talked about like how he picked it out because everybody didn't understand. They were like, "What the fuck is this?" Like he was like, "Yo, I'm like at one point I was an illegal alien in the United States, like, and I just felt like I didn't fit in nowhere." Like,
it did feel like this album though. French was hitting for like a home run every record.
Yeah, and it kind of felt that way too. It was charting, like he just like he was just doing a lot. And
you had, I mean, I don't know, man. The more I think about it, I want to give it to Allah. That Allah album.
The last great New York album.
Yeah, because what you had, Lord Pretty Flocko, Jody on there, that was a big moment.
It is.
That's a big song.
That's
Multiply.
A big song. Yeah.
When around that time when Multiply came out, was crazy. I mean, he's talking about shit on there that people outside of New York wouldn't even know about. You know, whether it was fashion, whatever, but he was talking about it, and it was super like narrow. It was a narrow window that he just made cool.
All right. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will give me some albums that like I didn't think of, but I just think I don't know, French the most New York nigga ever to me, of the newer rappers.
Yeah.
But
so you said I Told Him. What was the track that you didn't really fuck with on this?
A lot of his solo records.
Okay.
Ooh.
You don't have that many solo records on here.
All right, so I wasn't When I Want, Told Him, Bust It Open.
Okay.
Ball Out wasn't really anything. I'm not really a fan of the Drink Freely, but I get it. It's a nice, cool vibe.
Oh, so you looking at Red's looking at the deluxe? I'm thinking about that.
I'm just looking at. Everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like some of the deluxe songs was fucking.
We gonna talk about Ocho Cinco?
Yo, Ocho Cinco. That shit?
That record felt like Diddy was trying his best to get one more Bad Boy run.
Yeah.
Yo.
That's how
that
I
was
always
supposed
feel
to
when
lead.
he links up with
Even
French.
though I feel terrible about Ocho Cinco because basically that's a metaphor for busting somebody in the head.
Yeah.
But still, I know Evelyn Mendoza hates that song.
But yeah, I definitely think that Ocho Cinco was and Marble Floors was type cool. I think Ross, the vibe, Ross. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Come on, man. French is a walking fucking hit, bro. That's like.
I do feel like he has a chip on his shoulder because of the lack of respect that he gets. I remember
he definitely does.
Even for his rap ability.
During the pandemic, I know maybe this name isn't safe to say, but Taurian called him out and said he could smoke him in the verses.
Yeah.
And they hopped on Clubhouse to do it.
I remember that.
And I think Tory quit after like song 8.
Oh, I didn't even tune in, but I remember to talk about it.
Tory did not finish. They didn't finish it. He kind of tapped out.
Yeah, people.
Jury was out.
He is mad. He is mad. I think he gets mad at the audacity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the prestige of the New York legends that he feel like he belongs.
Yeah, man, and I mean, shit, bro. Like, regardless if people are mad about how he's here, he's still here.
Yeah.
And he's still got people tuning in, so it's a big deal. I want to get to y'all ratings.
Okay.
How do you feel?
I'm gonna keep it solid. I'm gonna keep it solid. I'm gonna do 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna do 4.
Okay.
Because even though there's like songs I would take off, the highs are really high. Like you could really just run go on a run with a couple of these records. So I'll give it a 4.
Okay.
I'll give it a 4. If I had to do half, I'd probably pull it down to 3.5, but I'm going to keep it solid at a solid 4 because they was just too many high moments on here for you not to really like give him that extra half of a waffle.
And I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Okay.
I give it a 3.5 because, like you said, you got your highs on here. I can make a playlist probably with like some of the songs that I still fuck with, and that's the thing with French. Like when you like a French Montana song, it never really dies out. I noticed
At all.
And
it always brings you back to that moment.
You can play it. He has timeless songs. Like Pop That. I can still play that.
Yeah.
I can still play Ain't Worried About Nothing. There's songs on here I can still play.
Yeah, Freaks is crazy.
Freaks is crazy.
He was
Freaks.
He was very smart with Freaks because he dropped it maybe like a week or a couple of days before Labor Day. And then Labor Day in New York is a big thing for the West Indian culture.
Absolutely.
And then he picked Nicki on it, who leaned into her Trinidadian background, and that really gave him a push because French ain't nowhere close to West Indian.
Yeah.
So that was smart. That he executes very well.
The sample was amazing.
Yeah.
It was great. But like I said, like there are some highs on here, and I just don't need this whole album. It's a nostalgic album because I remember where I was in this time frame. But I'm good with a 3.5. What about you?
I'm gonna give it a 3.5 as well. I'll give it a 3.5 for because
I'm lying. Sorry, Freaks came out on Valentine's Day.
Ooh.
That was his run though.
I give it a 3.5 because the features the album was very feature heavy. It lacked the Coke Boys presence, which I think actually would have helped build the Coke Boys up even further. The production on the album was really solid, and I even though he had a lot of features, I enjoyed the features. I just wanted more from him, and it just it was kind of like the album was like it had a lot of highs, but like the down point of the album, like it just went down really low, and it just seemed like a collection of hits. It didn't seem like a cohesive album.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why I say 3.5 out of 5 waffles. It's not like a jab or like saying that the album sucked. It's just that like if I'm thinking of a cohesive project, I'm like this album is more like a playlist of like French Montana.
It is. Yeah, it is. And I think out the gate, that's probably what he was going for because he just was trying to catch ears because he knew he had more eyes on him than ever. So he was trying to just hit it out the park.
He did his thing, man.
So I don't blame him.
Like I said, French Montana, New York City legend. Respect that, man.
And we're going to get into that soon. And I'm First Class Regg.
I'm Taurian B.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Let us know in the comments how you feel about this album. If we bugging out, if you agree. We want to hear it all. We out of here.
Out of here.